Rabbi Kaplan, we're continuing.
So, I'm saying that saying Tehillim in itself is a good thing. Nobody could argue on that. Now we say there's a person that actually does it. So, the question, do you think he's doing the right thing by doing them? I mean, there definitely is a strong svara to say that let him learn Gemara and Taisus, let him work on Gemara and Taisus, and he could set aside 15 minutes a day to say to him, half an hour, even an hour, but to say, let's say 7 hours a day to say to, or just, there's some people that they say so. I remember there was one summer I used to go around with an earphone, and always the Zohar was being read into his ear with the earphone. Remember there was such a person?
Yeah.
And what was his name? I
Goldberg.
forgot.
We changed him, Hebraicized the name.
Oh, yeah.
Givati.
So it's definitely a good thing. Now you can talk. Is it the right thing for that person? If you don't know him, you could say maybe for him it is the right thing, maybe not. That's one thing. But here, it's going the other way around. Here we're starting the other way. We're having a case here with a group that are talking about changing a situation. Now, to change a situation, and not a situation of a few people, of a small surrounding or a big surrounding, changing a situation of a state, a medina, a government, which al pi derech hateva, a few individuals can't do such a thing, and nothing you can do. In teva, you can't change the way a state is run. In Lomalo Mina Teva and the Kekelchus, you can. Now, to change Al Pi Teva, to make here in the Eretz Yisrael, there was such a talk that goes on by certain small groups that's called Tag Machir, that they're going to do that every thing that happens to a Jew, anytime that Arabs hurt a Jew, we're going to do something to take nekoma, to take revenge. Now, you're going to accomplish something with that? You're going to fix something, you're going to change something? Al pi derech hateva, you're not going to change anything, you're not going to accomplish anything. What's the heter to waste your time? Why should you waste your time with such a thing? Or to bomb, put bombs in Arabs, or to do things to hurt Arabs? What's it going to accomplish? What's it going to help? Al pi derech hateva, nothing. Now, you're going to change the way the government thinks, because the government will see, these few people are doing something against the Arabs, we better change our whole policy. Very unlikely that such a thing is going to happen. It comes out, the action itself is wrong, is a waste of time. And not only it's a waste of time, it's maybe even usur, because you're doing something to mess up your life. You have a wife, you have children, you have your own life, and you're messing up your life because you're going to be put in jail and you're not going to be able to live a normal life over there. That makes this action wrong. So what are you going to say? But since a person is doing it, so maybe it's right for him. Because we know that every person is an individual. And there are many millions of different ways of doing it. Being a Yid and being a Frum Yid in that Misgeret itself, there are many, many ways. So maybe this is also a way, because he's a Frum Yid, he's a Frum Jew, so maybe he's doing the right thing. And because of that, that will justify this act. That'll make it the right thing, just because it's good for him, so that makes it right. That's going the opposite way. That's starting with the person and going to the action and judging the action. That you can't do. You could start first with the action is good, then you start talking, is it good for that person? that you can do. But when the action is not good, so you're going to justify it just because a person that really wants to do good is doing it, that's going to justify it? And I'll show you an example, a brilliant example. I'll show you. There's a halacha that if you find a dead body, and you don't know who it is, and you want to identify him to be machir the wife to get married, and one of the ways to identify could be that you find what he's wearing. You recognize his clothing, it's his. So if you recognize his clothing, it must be that this is the person, because we know his clothing. So we say, no, you can't use that to identify the person. There's the Gemara in machir, Daf Chav Zayin Amid Beis, Chav Ches Amid Beis, talks about it, and in Yavod, the end of Yavamas, and Gemara says, because Chayshinan L'She'ela, maybe he borrowed the clothes from somebody else. That means you recognize the clothes, but that doesn't mean it's that person. Maybe somebody else borrowed the clothes of that person that you recognize the clothing. So that's called Chayshinan L'She'ela. On that, the Nod Yehuda asks a kasha. We know there's such thing as a chazaka, ma'asher tachas yadu shel adam areu shalom. Anything that person is holding, there's a chazaka, it belongs to him. And when you don't know is it his or is it not, Shulchan Aruch in Choshen Mishpat Siman Tzadik test, so it's broad, that when Bezdin sees that a person has certain nechosim, they could collect it for a chov that he has, and he can't say it belongs to somebody else, it's not mine. Like he wants to make a trick to get it, that they shouldn't take it away from him, so he says it's not mine. We don't believe him, because it's tachas yadu shel adam areu shalom. That's what the Chazaka says. So Nod Yehuda asks, so since this person is wearing the clothes, and we recognize the clothes, so let's say it belongs to this person that's wearing it, and it's not borrowed clothing, because it's a chazaka that if he's holding it, it belongs to him, it's his. Now, there's a sefer that's called B'nai Tzvion. B'nai Tzvion, he learned in Volozhin. He was a chavrusa with Rabbi Ber. Later, he became a Rav in Lithuania in a city called Lebedova. Now, this sefer was put out, and he was killed at age 44, I think. And his almana wrote in the introduction to the sefer, it tells the whole story about how there were groups in those years that were called anarchists. And they want to know what it means, like they just want to go and make a mess out of the Seder of the world, maybe it means, I don't know. And they came into his house and they demanded money. And they were Jewish. And they held a gun to him. And they demanded from him to tell them who are the rich people of this city. And he tried to tell them, have Rachmanis and Yidden, and he tried to talk like a Yid talk, and don't do this, and so they shot him on the spot, and he died. And the Almana wrote in the Akdama, the people were asking Rachmanis, people should buy the Sefer, help out their Parnosim. And it came out, this Sefer was accepted in the yeshivas. Nowadays in the yeshivas they don't know about the Sefer. But in Lita the Sefer was famous in all these yeshivas. And everybody used to look at it. And the Sefer was, in every yeshiva, it was like torn apart. So many looked at the Sefer that the pages were torn out. Every piece in the Sefer is brilliant in its pashtus, in its simplicity. There's different drachim in learning. And there's a certain derech that's called simple and brilliant. Now, I know there's certain people who won't appreciate because simple doesn't go into their vocabulary. But if you look at it with objectively, you see that it's gaonus mamish is this sefer. Everything he says is gaonus. So I've been looking today for a long time, looking in my whole library to look for this sefer. I can't find it. I don't know what happened to it. And I really feel bad that I couldn't bring this sefer and read a few lines from inside. But I remember seeing in this sefer on the Noda B'Yudas Kasha, he says you can't say such a thing. He says the Noda B'Yudas wants that we should identify the body by the fact that we know that this is his clothing. So that the fact that if it's tachas yodo, so it's shalom. So we should use that as identification. It must be that this is the person. So he says you don't go that way. You can start with the body. You could start with the question. If you start with the question, is it not his? So then I understand. Then you can do that. You can say it's definitely his because he's holding on to it. But the question is not, is it his or not? We're not interested if it's his. We're interested in who is this body. Can we identify this body? So what are you going to start? I don't know who this is, but I say this clothing must be his. So if it's his, it must be. It's this and this person. It doesn't work that way. You can't start from the clothing and then decide who the person is. First you start from the person, and then you say the clothing belongs to him. Now, why is it like that? I'm too bad I can't find the sefer and tell you exactly why he says it. But I would say that it has to do with the Chavos Das in Siman Nun Beis, I think, or Nun, I think it is, where he talks about Chazokah. He says, I'm not going to go into the whole case over there. But when you put something on the Chazokah, it's only on the Shiloh that we're being done on, so we say Chazokah. We can't work the other way. We can't say it the other way. I'm not going to say what he's talking about. We can only use Chazokah to answer the question that we're talking about. So I'm saying the same thing as over here. When this Chazokah that Kol Ma'ashetachas Yodesh Adam is Shalom, that's only given to answer the question, who does this belong to? On that you say that Chazokah. But when the question is not who does this belong to, the question is who is this? I don't care who it belongs to. I'm interested in knowing who is this body. On that you can't use that chazuk because that's not what we're talking about. The kids, you can't work backwards. You can't say it belongs to him, so it must be, it's this person. I don't know if everybody will understand what I'm saying, but I'm trying. So I'm saying according to that, it's mamish the same. It's the same as the case that we're talking about over here. What is the case over here? We say a klal that everybody has the thing that's good for him. Right? True. Because so that means when the thing is good, so then you say, who is it good for? It's not good for everybody. Somebody that has the kishron is to be a yoger b'Torah, and I'll say Tehillim all day. For him, that's not good. And I know somebody like that. But somebody who doesn't have the kishronos, for him it's good. But that's because you know that saying Tehillim is good. But to fight against the government, everybody knows it's not good. So you're gonna start from the person And you're going to say because he's a person that's dead, and that's not a person.
Rabbi Kaplan, we're taking another break. Thank you.